Meeting 6 p.m. First on the agenda is approval of minutes from last month, the April 28th meeting. I have one amendment. Previous month minutes. If I'm following the motions correctly, it was to approve the minutes and everything.
Well, that's what we did, so I guess, yeah.
So I'll make a motion to amend these minutes. That the prior meeting's motion was to amend those minutes.
And then once they're amended, you will sign them.
I believe we can just
sign it, and then with the amendment. Perfect.
All right. I guess that's for approval of the minutes with that one amendment. Any discussion on any other? All those in favor of amending these minutes with the amendment of the previous minutes, say aye, please. Any opposed? 6-0, 3 absent. Things that I find. All right, moving on. Public participation. Yeah.
On here tonight, we have the ministry here. It's a very small group that we're dedicated to revitalizing the downtown with the state and the South. And we were talking about the project that we made this year. And we talked about why we did these at different times. And I never got seemed to get out of but Mr. Bassett was going to talk about so I didn't see her sitting around the park and I think this is why we're talking about but we want to be involved in the design. Just to get these what it is. And what we can do is bring out things like that. Anyway, I think we probably consult with finding sources of the lives, something that we started and hold those together. Anyway, we try to do that. Maybe several speakers you all. We want to be done something that's my intention. God's will to be facing more travel, everything impossible. But right now, the cost to living part is somewhat prohibitive for some of our music. And so I think the right of that is coming along with that because heard that we were thinking about possibly a tiered system of especially the positive because the positive is the what's the positive? We have access to that $5 million ahead. So I know it's going to be really cost cancer for that anymore. It's going to be first for that and it seems unfair that some of our non-profit organizations are the fact that we're using the park with their honesty. So that's just my 2 cents. We would appreciate reconsidering some of the charges on them. Thank you. If you have any questions, oh, absolutely. That that is the project we need to do. So we see how much we can do. Maybe so that just is what we're doing.
See any reason why we would object to that.
Okay. We will be talking to you, so that's the project we need to have.
And public participation. Moving on, financial report. Steve, is that you?
It is. You guys have the packet in front of you, just the standard check run and our balances to date.
Anything you call our attention to, I can look through this.
No, nothing's glaring at this point.
I didn't expect there to be.
I was going to ask right now, I was going to before, yeah,
No, I think we just have three.
Okay.
To my knowledge, we have three. Farmer State Bank, BTC Bank, and Early Family Farm. I think there was some of that communication might have got lost in the transition of staff, and I'm not sure where we are on some of that. I know we have funds from the banks, and we have funds for Al's donation for the shelter house and the potential pickleball and things like that. But yeah, yeah, that's true. No, those funds are, but it was different. That's a different project, so it's different than. I just there are no plans that I see for pickleball, but I don't know where that was as far as. Any questions on the park and pool construction project as far as the finances? I ordered bleachers this week, and they came in 30,000 under that, and that's bleachers for all 5 fields. So, yeah. I do also know, if you're looking at that, we bought we have the same as brand new pitching mounds stored from the Park Valley. We bought some, and YMCA didn't really want to use them, so we just stored them in hopes of breaking them out at some point. So, 3. So we may need to buy a couple more, but for youth level, we have 3 that are basically in new condition. So. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll do. Let's see. I'm kind of waiting, like that field groomer and some of those things. I'm going to wait till closer to time. I think I'm pretty confident we come in under that as well. But I don't know, maybe not now with the price of metal and plastic and everything going up. So, but I'm going to wait and see what's maybe best closer to time. We've ordered concession stand. Well, I haven't ordered the concession stand appliances yet either, just because they're still building the building, and now the pool obviously has theirs.
Any other questions, comments on finances? All right. Next on the agenda, superintendent report, park and food.
Well, I guess I'll start with the pool. As you all are well aware, we're having to push back the opening till June 4th.
You got that? Have you seen that yet?
Okay. And I will have that on our Facebook page as well before the day's over. It's an unfortunate situation. I know Midwest Pool really needs more time to really be prepared, and I really think that's our key component to that is they hired staff, but they really didn't have a good place to do all the trainings preceding opening. And it was more of I just hate to open a pool and there's confusion on how to get in with the passes and confusion on how to sell concessions. And then the guards are maybe unsure of where to be, and obviously safety concerns with that as well. I'd rather wait 7 more days and have kind of a wow factor that, when you walk in, people will be wowed and like they won't have a struggle getting in and things like that. So I'd rather get everything buttoned up and the training's done and feel like we are really ready to go for the opening. But it's looking amazing. I signed off on the slide, yesterday, Wednesday. And it's if you haven't, I guess you guys did the tour, but now with water in there as well, it's impressive. So did you? Yeah. Yes. Our city manager's on vacation. I know he wants to include city council with that. So maybe we can do that now, the Saturday before the actual opening, and do a grand opening ribbon cutting, maybe that morning if possible, closer to. No, I'm sorry, the Saturday the 4th before we open at 1. Yeah, so maybe like noon or 12:30 or whatever, and do a ribbon cutting. I don't know as far as availability for everybody on that, but that's a possibility. That
would be my preference to cut the ribbon and invite you.
Right. I think that would be our best bet as far as getting everybody there and kind of make a big deal about it. Cherie. Oh.
I personally would rather see that. And part of that, I'm sure what is definitely over the biggest functional. So, I'm assuming that was just looking forward to the next big swim holiday and like that our ceremony. Speculating.
Are they planning on parking lot and
we'll have the parking lot cleaned up and accessible and usable. Now, as far as we're looking to put an asphalt surface down, and no, that won't be. We're going to try to piggyback on the street cuts. We're going to have an asphalt company in town, and when they're in town, we're going to try to do all of it at the same time. So, but that'll be midsummer, and we'll probably just have to close the parking lot for a day. I'm sure they'll only need a day to get in and do their part of it. We might need to close it for 2 days to prep it one day and surface it the next. But I think at this point, there's enough parking in Rec Park and around to get by for a day or two if we need to. But that's the plan for the parking.
So I would say, Steve, we target, what time is the pool typically open?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. So I would say we target 12 o'clock. Saturday the 4th for opening and make sure that works. That's the nice one.
Opening day, there's going to be folks showing up to kind of get in line. I think I'd rather go earlier than later. I feel like if we get close to 1, there's going to be a real congestion. And of course, that might be cool for a picture too. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I think it would be good for the public to feel like they can attend and enter.
That's a good point. So yeah, maybe we push closer to 12:55, 12:50, and right before, and do the big thing, and 12:45 or. I wouldn't think there would be, no. I thought we would, yeah. I'll get some artists and get a band. Huh? We'll see about that. Oh, wow. Okay. Tentatively around 1 then. Obviously I'll need to communicate with the city manager and city council to see if their availability. There has been some discussion of lack of guards and lack of staff for Midwest Pool. That isn't the case. They have actually hired enough guards for 2 full teams, they call them, so there's at least 20 guards. They are still looking for, yeah, that's right. I think they're looking for another assistant manager and maybe another what they call lead guard, but for the most part they're hired. They just still need to do some training. So yeah, right. That's all I really had for the pool portion of that.
Talk about the potential of like a soft opening, say a Wednesday evening for.
We could still do that if that's something the park board would like to do. I'll reach back out to them and I'll just contact the park board via email and.
Yeah. But like, directly involved in the project. Everybody changed on the management side.
Right, give them a chance to guard the water and, I'll discuss that with Chad from Midwest Pool. And okay, sounds good to me. Any questions on the pool update? Okay. The park update, really, there isn't much to speak of. The pole barn is complete. The Musco lighting they put some pillars in, so they're starting their lighting on the soccer fields. It just still seems like a really slow going process. Nothing to really report because it's not moving as fast as I guess we anticipated. I know the weather is obviously slowing them down as well, but it's taken a while. Yeah, right. So there isn't, like I said, there isn't a whole lot to report. Working on the concession stand, it's nearing, at least the exterior is nearing completion. Our Greg Harris, our city inspector, is out there on the daily. There isn't much for him to inspect because there isn't a whole lot going on. So we were supposed to have our meeting today, the OAC meeting, but I had to cancel because we were at the pool doing pool stuff. So couldn't quite meet with them today, but 2 weeks ago we were just pushing back with, it's like every time we push the extension back on when we're potentially going to open. So it's just a slow process, I guess.
So just thinking out loud here, the primary focus of the park is sports fields. Those are going to be not playable until next spring, regardless of substantial completion of the park itself.
Right.
So you know offhand, and I'm assuming you don't know the date offhand, could you check between Rio and her basically how late could we potentially slide substantial completion and still get the sod in place with sufficient time to have it established and ready to go next spring? If I thought that's the important deadline.
Right. I think we will, even with the delays, I think that's going to happen. I actually am kind of advocating to push the sod install back to a more, right now it's slotted for July. Well, in August. That's not a good time. We'll spend a fortune on irrigation and then we still might not get a good outcome. We're spending a lot on sod and grass seed. So I would rather put that in the prime time and when it makes the most sense. So
I guess I would ask that you, like I said, with Rio and her, just identify what that date looks like.
Okay.
Actually need to have substantial completion finished.
Make sure we're at and everything else. I feel like next spring it'll be completely ready to go.
That's all
right. Everybody wants to make sure that happens, but yes, I'll by the next meeting I'll have better dates and things like that to hopefully. I mean, it's ever evolving, but try to have a
team all parents and other team coaches for 2 years.
Right. Right. Well, we will.
We did go check fellas on that. I heard about that.
Yeah, I guess that was all already pre-established by Park Board in the planning stages. No. Well, and I reached out to Larry and he's like, well, it was already predetermined. And so I assumed that was part of maybe the subcommittee. That's my guess. I know I didn't have anything to do with the color picking, and I just assumed it was the subcommittees or the Park Board as a whole. Yeah. And maybe. Right. Well, and maybe that was just Drew just went with it to match maybe the other buildings in the park system. Right. Yeah. And I think it will just, I'm not sure, honestly. But I believe the roofs will match. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So, I mean, you got yeah, I will. I'll double check on that before the next meeting, or I'll probably reach out via email if that's all right. Yeah. I started looking into that, and I just kind of, everybody acted like they were confused, and I just think that's kind of where this whole project is spinning right now. It's like, well, yeah, right, or so. Yeah. Any questions on the park update? Unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot to report. That's disappointing, but we'll.
In the middle of a big project.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we can divert Carruthers after they're done with the pool out to the park to help.
All right. Next on the agenda, unfinished business. Do we have any? Next on the agenda, new business. We have a safety policy statement.
This is I don't know if you're aware, every 3 years I go and I take a certified playground safety inspector course and exam, and that certification is good for 3 years. And that's put out by National Parks and Rec Association. And I think this was the fifth time I took the course and exam. But I found this statement as kind of, I thought it would be a good asset for our program, our park system. It speaks to allocating funds out of our budget to assure that when we put in our playgrounds and inspect our playgrounds, that we are doing it the right way, or the right way is in front of you. I gave everybody a shrunk down copy of the CPSC guideline. That's no, that's actually the ASTM standard. Yes, that. And part of that course is you have to go through, and you'll have that field guide, which that field guide has both books. The ASTM standard, which is really dry, boring read, and the other one that's a little more user friendly, and that's also the free copy. So that's why I was able to print. But it speaks to safety and all the different variations of like head and neck entrapment, and obviously not fun things to talk about, but our insurance providers love the fact that we have a CPSI in staff, and the way we do our inspections via our cloud-based inspection format. But going back to when we had to remove that playground, I knew for a while that there was a few issues that we needed to address, but the funding really wasn't there because it's such a pricey piece. So we had to decide, well, is it really unsafe? And at the time, there wasn't any glaring huge safety issues, but it didn't match the standards in front of you. So our insurance provider wrote us up on that essentially. And we had the option at that point to either correct all the issues. The biggest part of that whole playground was the pillars. All are like 4x4 planks. The one that Rec Park we had to remove. Yes. Well, that's a component structure. So every one of those is what they consider in that book a designated play surface. So if it's greater than 2x2 inch square, it's a play surface. So then you have to have adequate surfacing underneath that, and it changes. And that's one of those things when they built it and installed it, it was fine, but it's modified over time. That's why, like Moose Station, if you notice the tops of those are all rounded now. That way they're not designated play surfaces. So long story short, we had to remove it, or they were going to fine us $35,000 as the city. Or we could correct it, but that manufacturer didn't make all those parts anymore. Basically, that what? No, well, that's not how it was relayed. to me is they were going to fine us $35,000. We were going to have to cut them a check for $35,000 is how it was relayed to me. So we made the decision at that point. We couldn't get replacement parts because the piece was too old. It was close to 40 years old. So they didn't make replacements. And there was some, at that point, there was more safety issues that were coming up. You know, all that plastic breaks down over time, starts to wear and crack and some of those things. Well, anyway, long story short, we removed it and we didn't pay, but now my point is with this, I want to make that a priority. And I know we already do that to a degree, but I want to, moving forward, make that one of the top things we look at is we only install the IPEMA certified playground stuff. Moving forward, we make sure we have enough budgeted money every year to repair the ongoing maintenance needs. I know in the past we've just threw that under line item system structures and grounds and hope that we have enough funds to take care of issues. Well, obviously that whole line item is $35,000. So that's not going to take care of all the needs of repair and replacement of structures as they wear and yeah. So it's just a blanket statement saying that we will inspect, which we currently do. Everything in here we currently do other than the allocation of funds to maybe a separate line item that would speak to playground safety specifically. And we're getting ready to do the budget here. We're starting it right now, actually. So maybe, you know, start off with, you know, $4,000 to $5,000 of a line item just to have that ear tag to where when we need to replace shackles and different parts. What a lot of people don't understand in public playgrounds is if a chain breaks, I just can't go run to the hardware store and buy a chain. It doesn't work like that. I have to buy it from Miracle and it has to be signed off. Even as far as surfacing goes, if say we do put a new playground at Rec Park, well, now we have to make it ADA compliant. So we would have to at least get rid of some of our pea gravel and put like engineered wood fiber. It's mulch, but it's signed off by an engineer that it's more unitary for wheelchair bound folks can get where they need to go. So there's all these price points that people don't understand that it costs a lot of money to maintain and build new, and that I just feel like we need to put our hat on this and say, this is what Cameron's going to do. We're going to make sure that we take care of our playgrounds to the best level we can, so we don't run into another issue where an insurance provider says, hey, do this or we're going to fine you. And I think that is the direction we need to go, personally.
I like the concept on this thing I just written. I've got a handful of rather nitpicky suggested revisions. I don't know if we need to go through those now or sit on work on that over the course of the next month.
We can.
I like the concept.
Well, we can, yeah, I don't expect a vote tonight. I just wanted to throw that out there and get the ball rolling on you know, some of these things we do, some of them we could do a better job of, currently we are actually in really good shape. That's the other thing. I think now if we just assign a certain amount of money going forward, because we don't have anything blaring. We went through and even the older pieces on what we call Rec Park East. There was Rec Park West, Rec Park East, as far as when we do our inspections. We took out the parts that made it, they dinged us on basically, because it wasn't completely composite. It was section them off and you can pull off parts and make it work. So we're good now. I mean, other than the fact that the stuff in Rec Park East is still pretty old, excluding the toddler playset that's in there currently, which is really not the best place for it. But at the time, we had a real push. This was prior to New Station. We had a real push for toddler age appropriate equipment. And so that was kind of our way of pleasing some of the people that wanted toddler age stuff. And we could put it in that because there was enough crossover of age appropriateness in that area. So we could also definitely pull that piece and move it anywhere else as well. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Or
I was just curious, like, as far as.
Oh, yeah. We have our software is called Playground Guardian. Is who we use. Yes. Just 15 years. Okay. And we haven't used Playground Guardian for 15 years, but we probably have used it for the last 5. And that the thing with it is, it saves all of our inspections to the cloud. It saves all of our inventory to the cloud. If there's a fire or anything like that, it has all of our move station plans and part lists, and even I've scanned up even the old pieces to that, to where if after I'm gone and someone needs to order a part, they can open that up and go, okay, this is what it is, and this is the part number, and call our Miracle rep and get it ordered. So, but it also, that way we don't have to. The way that works is they call it high frequency, low frequency, because legal speak, they don't want to say week. Essentially, it's weekly. High frequency would be weekly, low frequency would be monthly, but more in depth. There's high frequency, and we do it really more like almost daily when we do the rounds, because you don't have to be a CPSI to do it. High frequency inspection that would take the tablet, and he does most of them, and they'll walk through, and if there's debris in the surfacing, we pick that up. If there's pea gravel and steps, and there's a whole checklist to go through. But that's more like daily to weekly, is everything kept and more or less safe, checking hinges and things like that. The weekly or low frequency, that's more we get on equipment, we look at all the nuts and bolts and get underneath and look at structural stuff. And then there's an audit, but the audit, it only happens typically when you either install a new playground or make a major modification to a playground. So that's the only time you should ever. And that's checking like ADA compliance and all your minimum and maximum heights for your, what they call a HIC rating, which is your, they'll get out like a ball that hits a turf, or in our case, it's a turf, and it shows what the displacement of the energy and whatnot. So, but that's like a one-time deal, hopefully. Yeah, we do it at a minimum weekly on every one of our pieces, but probably more like 2 or 3 times a week.
I think it makes sense to revise this over the course of the next month and bring us back on next month's agenda. Okay. Do we need to make formal vote or anything? We will need a formal vote when it's complete, and no, we'll just move it to next month. And feel free to read that ASTM standard, though. I gave a couple copies out there. It's a good read. All right, anything else on playground safety policy? All right, next on new business is date for pool grand opening. We've already talked about that. Pencil it in for 1 p.m. June 4th. Steve, I have to send that to the newspaper.
Will do.
Communications once we get that.
Okay.
Hopefully before it runs in Thursday.
Okay.
No fault. Any miscellaneous?
We do, and there was breaker. It was a breaker issue. It's fixed. It's good. Yep. It's already taken care of. I think we dialed that. I believe it is 10 o'clock. Yeah. I just know we didn't go to 11 because the neighbors over there aren't big fans. So I think we cut it off at 10. Just okay. We'll get that taken care of. We'll get that dealt with.
Anything else under miscellaneous?
I will get back to that. It's been a crazy time lately, but I'll get back to that every Friday. It seemed like we were doing it, and then we had our park board meeting, and then we had other meetings like this. So but I will definitely get back to. Yeah, too many track meets. Yes, and baseball games. Baseball's over. Track's got 2 more days.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.